Alright, in this video we're going to cover how to connect all the upper body controls. So, the first thing we want to do is select your root control. We're going to start at the root control. Shift select the root joint. In your rigging tab, we're going to go to constrain and then orient. Hit the little settings box and click this little checkbox called maintain offset, and then go ahead and click add. What this does, you'll notice when you select your root controller now, the rest of the skeleton turns pink, and that's because this controller is connected to that joint. And now when I go to rotate, you'll see that it rotates the entire thing. Now, the next thing I want to do is I'm going to constrain, orient all of these joints, every single one. And the other thing I want to make sure is that I parent these. Now when you do this, you need to make sure we're going to follow this hierarchy as basically from the wrist all the way down to the chest, from the chest all the way down to the root, and then the head to the neck to the chest. So when we're doing this, you have to make sure that these are zeroed out. Alright, constrain, orient. I'm going to select one, shift select the joint, and constrain orient. It has the same settings as before, it just saves them out, and now you'll see that this will control here. Again, we're going to go from the spine to here, parent, and then constrain orient. Okay, from this spine 2 to spine 1, parent, I'm pressing P if you don't remember, and then constrain orient. And again with the chest to the spine, P, and we'll also shift select our joint here and constrain orient. Okay, so now you'll notice that this is called an FK setup. This is forward kinematics. That's what FK stands for. So basically it works this way, forwardly progressing out as it makes this FK setup, if that makes sense. So the hierarchy we're following. Now, some people like to parent the shoulder to the clavicle. I don't. I actually do the shoulder to the chest. I guess it depends on the rig, but for the most part, I typically do the shoulder to the chest. And one thing you'll notice is I changed my clav controls to look a little bit different because there was just kind of too much action in this armpit region. So I just kind of did this little hook. So this is a NURB circle, and I just used the control vertexes to change the shape of it, and then I put it on the other side also. Anyway, back to here, constrain orient, and this one I'm going to go to the chest, and on my clav, and press P, and on my clav, constrain orient, the neck to here, and the neck, shift select constrain orient, the elbow to the shoulder, P, and actually going to run a quick save. I noticed a little lag happening, and let's call this rigging. Okay. And constrain orient, the wrist to the elbow, P, and we'll do the wrist, and constrain, orient. Okay, and you'll notice now, excuse me, what the orient does is it only allows you to rotate. It does not allow you to move, so you can only rotate. Don't scale anything, don't change anything, just make sure everything's zeroed out. I was just kind of showing you how it works. And then obviously the wrist, and this is how we're going to control our rig. Alright, so the head to the neck, and again shift select, constrain, orient, the clav to the chest, and we're going to do the clav here, constrain, orient, okay, the shoulder to the chest, and did I already do this one? I don't believe so. And select, constrain, orient, the elbow to the shoulder, P for parent, constrain, orient, and the wrist to the elbow, constrain, orient. Oh, I'm sorry. The wrist parented to the elbow, and then the wrist to the wrist joint, the controller to the joint, orient. So now, as you run through this, you'll notice at the elbow, if I go to rotate, then I rotate this elbow, and this is what we call forward kinematics. Alright, and then we can animate our character like so. When we get to binding the character, that's when the skin actually will interact with the joints, and obviously the controllers control the joints. So later on, when we get to that point, this will have the entire mesh animating, which is really, really neat. Anyway, just go ahead and double check that everything is done right. When you select your root control, you should notice that everything highlights. Selecting your waist control, everything highlights. Make sure it's all zeroed out. Spine control, and they should all turn pink from that point on. And just make sure everything's right. Alright, so that's everything on creating the upper body controls. And thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next video. One last thing that just came to mind. You can layer, create layer, and just call this controllers. I'm going to make mine yellow, I usually do. Save, and then I'm just going to make my joint layer black. So now they have a nice contrast to the mesh and the controllers, and I can kind of visually see everything really easily. So that's the start of creating the controllers for the upper body. Message me if you have any questions, and thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video.